The topic of today's video is sexual harassment, and I know this is a very difficult topic for many, many women. I had several traumatic, terrifying experiences of sexual harassment as a teenager and then in my early 20s. But I have to say, I never considered myself to be sexually harassed in the workplace, even though I work predominantly with men all the time. Now, this could be for several reasons. Because of my early experiences, it's possible that I emitted an energy, that said, don't even think about it. Don't come close to me. I will report you so fast. I will kick, scream, holler, and report you. That's a possibility. I do remember one time at a party after work, and it was several hours, people had been drinking and so on, and one man who was higher than me started approaching me, and I could tell he had had too much to drink. And before anything could happen, I just ducked down and slipped away and went into another room. So getting away, avoidance, if possible, is one answer to sexual harassment. I want to give you a definition of sexual harassment. I found this definition when I was working on my book, and it's pretty broad. It says, sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual advances, requests of sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature that tends to create a hostile or offensive work environment. And when you think about that definition, I mean, what woman hasn't been in a situation, with a group of men, and they start telling jokes and eventually kind of off-color jokes and so on. Now, at that time, I never considered that to be sexual harassment. And but I didn't realize that it was making me, number one, uncomfortable, and number two, feeling disempowered. Now, it's not something that I would make a big deal about, but today, if that happened to me, I would probably say something like, gentlemen, that those stories are making me feel very uncomfortable, and I'd appreciate it if you didn't do it while I'm around. Again, that would make me feel empowered. But one thing I would encourage any woman to do if you are a victim of sexual harassment is to report it to your supervisor if you're comfortable, or to the Human Resources Department. But many times women are not comfortable doing that. You're afraid you're going to lose your job, which I can totally understand. But in those cases, I would recommend that you go to the EEOC. That's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This was the organization that was established in 1965 to federally protect people's, not just women's, people's rights in the workplace to report any kind of form of discrimination. So I would imagine, since they've been in place since 1965, they're used to dealing with people who are afraid of losing their job. And they might be able to walk you through how to do it and take up your issue. Okay? Another very helpful organization has been the Me Too movement. It has brought to light so many kinds of sexual harassment, different industries, and the potential consequences to mostly men. Things like, losing their job, or some have gone to jail. So these are two very effective organizations. Now I want to pose the 3 questions that I'm going to do at the end of each video. The first question is, what do you consider to be sexual harassment? Thinking about this ahead of time might help you recognize if something is happening. Is a flattering remark in terms of your appearance acceptable to you? Question number 3. What would you do if you received or witnessed someone else receiving sexual comments or were sexually harassed in any other way? What would you do? Now, while I encourage you to think about these situations in the questions I pose, I also encourage you not to stay in that energy thinking about them. I believe in the law of attraction, and the energy we put out and our thought processes are what we attract. Now, I'm giving you all these questions because when something happens, I don't want you to stay in a state of shock. If you've already thought about something and what you would do, you're more likely to know what to do and to take action. But again, I don't want you staying in that energy. I want you to move into a positive energy. Remember my belief that women are destined to excel. Remember my cup. The sky is the limit. That's where I want you to end up. Now, with that, I'm going to post these again as slides after this video. And the next video, the topic is going to be intimidation or bullying in the workplace. And for the next week, I wish you well and hope to see you next week. Thank you.